and her contributions.
Okay, and it seems as if you're also doing a lot more research on Nevis, apart from more about
Yeah,
your great grandfather, you're also
right,
learning
right, right.
about Nevis. So
Yeah,
we will have to, I guess, as you continue to do this, seek to be able to make a commitment to bring you back here from time to time on the platform to talk about
absolutely.
that and to tap into some more of that kind of history. And I would suggest also,
Right.
as you learn it, you should share it with the children that you encounter in your program out there. Just be
Yeah,
open-minded. At least they'll be learning something new. It will give them a different perspective, and well, it will help to get them to learn about St. Kitts and Nevis as well. Because I find in the U.S. a lot of people only know about Jamaica
they
when
only
they
knew
talk
about
about the Caribbean.
Jamaica once, but
Yes.
now they are. Alexander Hamilton. That whole Broadway play has been an open doorway to say, "Oh, where's Nevis?" Like, now they're hearing about Nevis and St. Kitts. Um, so yeah, I would continue to introduce. Like I said, I'm reading Haston Dudley Huggins, and his
Yes.
story is fascinating because his grandson, which would have been Hastings, yeah, Dudley, the Dudley one, because a lot of them name is Haston Huggins. There's a lot of Haston Horn Huggins, but Dudley, he was an agriculturist. You got to look him up, Banks. He went to Guyana, British Guyana, and he
Mm-hmm.
was like the head director of the island for agriculture. And then he got accepted to Harvard and Yale. He's from Nevis. He was born in
Mm-hmm.
Nevis, and
Yes.
he did some amazing things. He
Wow.
was well prestiged in his academics.
Well,
So
it
he would be
shows
great. He would
everything.
be great at history.
Yes, I mean, it shows a lot of everything. We had a lot of pioneers that really walked through the agricultural sector, and not just here in from Nevis or from Montserrat, but then still go throughout the Caribbean and the whole and the
Yeah, yeah,
region and made a contribution. So it shows networking within the region, yes, son, have been always something that been going on all the time, but somehow that part have been lost, especially in this time where we have millions and millions and billions of dollars, but yet we still can't feed ourselves. But yet when we had less, we were doing these things and stuff like that. So it shows where the interest really is. You see what I mean? When it comes to
yeah.
But,
developing our
but
country and our people, in a sense.
but you talk about the interest, but as you look at it, and I think the sister alluded to that earlier in some of her wanderings, like wondering if some of these things are not intentional. Um,
Yeah,
and I
Yes.
wonder,
yeah,
and I wonder if it
yeah,
comes from the colonial mindset
yeah,
that we still perpetuate, because
right.
even apart from, like, okay, this issue that we are discussing on this in this time about your great grandfather,
Mm-hmm.
generally in terms of the history of people and the contributions that are made, even contributions that with people who people know, like look at it. Let's look at Tim Daniel. Um, no, I mean, we know he was the first premier and so on, but it's only like maybe a National Heroes Day or something like that. Somebody says something about um, him and the contributions of other people. We have Emontin, who is alive and has won competitions in St. Croix for agriculture for the past 13 years, back to back to back to back to back. This is contribution of somebody living, going to St. Croix, competing against various Caribbean islands in an agricultural competition, and has won for 13 years. And we haven't heard, anybody like, making any effort to speak of these things. And
So,
so,
so
yeah,
why
go ahead.
isn't he going to St. Croix? Why isn't he bigging up Nevis and St. Kitts and making sure that little island is making a big to do about? He's supposed to carry the flag of Nevis and St. Kitts. He's supposed to give them the credit that's due. Why doesn't that
No,
happen?
that's no. What happened? Like this month, Senko, I have the Caribbean Agriculture Expo, where people through the
Mm-hmm.
Caribbean, Montserrat, Antigua, Saint Kitts, Dominique will go down there and take part in it. and this
Mhm.
this lady and her husband used to go down every for the past 13 years, and Nevis is the one that always winning the competition. So they've been invited down. It's a yearly thing that they have a Caribbean Expo in St. Croix.
Mhm.
So it shows St. Croix been doing it all the time. So this person from Nevis, so he was just adding to where the people here in Nevis have been contributing when it comes to the agricultural sector throughout the different parts of the Caribbean and even in the U.S. territories in the Caribbean also. So the talent is
Right.
here, where we
Right.
understand the ground, and it shows that. But somehow, as I said earlier, you know,
We are
these
not giving
things
our people the kind
is
of credit.
is
So that's the point I was just
Right.
trying to
Because
make.
when
yes,
That
I go to
we are
yes,
Nevis, I should
making
be hearing about this person. I should be hearing about this contribution
exactly.
because
yes,
Nevis people
yes.
talk. Why don't I hear about
That's
this
what keep
contribution?
yes. That's what I keep saying.
So
And then her husband has
the point I'm trying
transitioned,
to
just like
make.
my uncle Manster. Yes, it should name something off of these people. It's the right thing to do throughout the different villages, like animals and all this. Not just in agriculture, in different areas. Once have been make a great contribution. You understand? Just like David Freeman, not just a picture on a wall. They should name a street or something, you understand, in area where he live. You see what I mean? A area within their basketball court. But something, you understand, of not just a picture that is just one thing, but naming something after somebody a road, it goes a long way. Because you always have to fix that picture and repaint that picture, which is fine. Nothing is wrong with that. But Satima, I mean, I really want. I mean, I have gone already full speed, so I just want to thank you
Already?
for coming. Yeah, time flies
Thank
when
you
we're
for
just having good
inviting me. Thank you,
conversation.
thank you, thank you. This
You
conversation was
understand?
well needed, well important, and I'm happy. I feel welcome. I feel accepted in what I was saying and
Yes, so I
everything.
mean,
So
yeah. So
it's a safe
before you
space.
go, I
Trust
mean,
me,
huh?
trust me.
I was
It
just
is
saying,
well welcome, and we are looking
yes.
forward to having you back on the platform again to continue the
Mhm.
discussion. So we definitely will have to. Banky, I don't know. I mean, this is African History Month, so this
Yeah.
contribution can also fit into our Agro African
Of
history
course.
contribution.
Yes.
Um,
Yes. Yes.
and you know, I still think that there's a lot more that there is to share.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's some people who are just logging in and who were not aware of, what the topic was. But we have here with us Fatima Smith, and she is
Yes.
the great granddaughter of Wally Wade. For those of you who might not know of the history of Wally Wade, she's just pointing out some of the contributions that he would have made. He was originally from Montserrat, but he
Hmm.
relocated to Nevis, brought his family to Nevis, and was responsible for a number of the estates, bought out a number of the estates, Bath, Mount Traverse, Clark's Estate, Belmont Estate.
Hmm.
So all where Malcolm Gishard Park is, that was, their property, all where Sunshines and all these people are, that was
Yeah.
their Bath Hotel. They owned that. Um, and functional area and all that over there, they owned that. And so, a lot of these things, I mean, I'm learning that where Mikey Slack has his bakery on the
Hmm.
Beffront there in Charlestown, that was a hotel called the Austins.
Hmm.
So we are learning a lot of things here this evening. You should tell us about another hotel. What you said that name of that one was?
Bicentennial Hamilton Hotel. Hmm.
Okay.
I tried to get
So
the
folks who are
certificate of title, and for some reason in the land registry, they don't have no information about that. But I do have documentation about the Bicentennial Hamilton Hotel.
can you identify that building? Do you have an idea of which
It's,
building it
it's
is?
not there. No, the building. I don't think the building's there anymore. But he bought an architect, the same architect from Montserrat, to build that structure. It would be on the same strip that the bakery's on, same strip that the Octagon's on. It would be on that strip.
Okay. Okay.
I got you.
We got a couple
I
more comments here, Banky. So we got so we got Carlisle Parry saying, how is Hamilton honored and someone of Wally Wade is not even mentioned? Thanks to the young lady, I haven't heard his name in over 50 years.
Wow.
Wow.
Gigi saying, Carlisle, I'm joining late. Who is that you mean? Okay, so Gigi said good night, folks. Carlisle Paris also said, John E. Howell is another person who contributed significantly to the development in Nevis and worthy of more recognition. He's my grandfather, and he started the first political party, Nevis, and documented by Stevenson Manners in his book, The Father and Son. G.G. Williams Keith also says, I grew up with my grandparents who leased lands from the government for $1 at Round Hill and Nisbet. They supplied the government with a lot of crops. There was a cooperative. Most of the old people I knew in my village was a part of it. Mr. Maynard used to have his cattle at Round Hill as well as his crop. And then Carl Paris said again, Wally Wade is a major landowner. And Gigi said, I joined late, so I missed a lot. Welcome to your guest. Okay, so
Yes.
the comments and based on the feedback, Fatima, you can tell that the people appreciate you
Yeah.
being here and appreciate the information that you're sharing. And we can say the same here on this program because we have learned a lot. And you are
Thank
putting me
you.
now to want to do some more research myself. And I'm going to
Yeah.
definitely encourage you to pass on whatever other information that you get so that, we can have it, we can share it, and we are definitely going to welcome you back to the platform.
Thank you.
You have an
Thank you.
open
Thank
welcome.
you.
Come back and share such information. I think, I honestly think that we need to do a lot more of this, not just in the case of your great grandfather, but also just in general in terms of other people in the past
Right.
would have
Yes,
made
Right.
of course.
contributions, maybe not so significant, but contributions enough to help to empower our young people so that we can get them to see that, all hope is not lost. We would have had people who would have made great contributions in the past, and we can do it as well today still. The
Right.
potential is there. I am glad also that even though we're talking about him from a historical perspective, it also ties in to the agricultural side and showing how
Mhm.
really and truly how and why we were considered to be the queen of the Caribbean. Because based on what you're talking about here, this kind of industry here, we they were right. We were feeding the world. To hear what you're talking
Right.
about, we're sending food Barbados and Trinidad and shipping
Yes.
cattle all
Yes.
over this place. And
Yeah.
so that means that we would have had to have more than enough to sustain ourselves, that we are
Right.
able to
Yes.
export then and do business. And here we
Yeah.
are in 2025 fighting to
Important food.
reduce the import bill by at least 25% because we are spending over $200 million annually to import food. So
That's
when we have this conversation and listening to what you are saying, it helps to put these things into perspective. And I'm hoping that the people who listen to this, the young people who get to hear this, and those who are logged on, I'm hoping that you can share this so that other young people can be empowered by listening to these things and say, wait, this thing is not Nevis, and this is where we there. But we need to make some changes.
So two things I want to say. One is I went to Chile and I got to see their agriculture and how they produce their GDP because Chile is the smallest in South America, but it has the largest GDP. But that comes into play with the contracts they make with England, Canada, and China. So it's not just how much you grow and how much you produce, it's also the negotiation. So people have to get into the legislation part of it to make those contracts and not to import as much as they export. That's checks and balances. And then the second thing, I haven't heard anything about the schools. So what are they teaching in schools when it comes to history, when it comes to literature? What are they teaching in schools in Nevis and St. Kitts?
Teaching
Very
all
good
kind of stuff,
question.
but what need to be documented is like you also keep talking about agriculture need to be mandatory, just like you have, you understand, some of the subjects like English and history and mathematics mandatory. Agriculture, one of those subjects should have been mandatory and stuff like that, and not have to choose between agriculture and whether it's accounting or one of these other subjects. That's the issue right there, because with agriculture, you learn in different aspect when it comes to the environment also, and at the same time learning to feed yourself, learning sustainability, your clothes, and understand and seeing agriculture in different aspect, not just seeing the raw material but not realize the material that they have on and the shows is agricultural products, the books that they
Right.
have, the bags, but it's not been taught that way. It's just been taught in a way whereas those who are less academically inclined are those just shoved into construction and shoved into agriculture because they had hard. That's the way they put it over, and the mind frame is still there. You see what I mean? Because for me, people come on the farm every day and person say, "Oh, how you could do all the work by yourself? This is pure all here is hard work, hard work, hard work." It just amazed me when they speak like that. Can be say, but they love this, and they don't even want to go on the job that they're working at, but they don't see it as hard work. You see what I mean? They don't want to go there. They dislike the job that they're at, you know. So it's amazing how
In
you've been
relation
conditioned
to
to think.
Right. The conditional way that.
the question, in relation to
Hmm.
the question, right? In terms of the history, I don't think it's so much that. Let me put it this way. First up, I don't think enough of our local history is taught in the curriculums. Local as in St. Kitts and Nevis history. But
Hmm.
I think part of the problem with the history is not necessarily so much the content as it is more so the rationale for teaching the subject. So for me, I think a lot of people, because at this point the subject is compulsory, it's a subject that you have to do. Like it is
Hmm.
taught as okay, you're supposed to just get this information. It's more like a rote. You know, you is numbers and dates and figures and time. So you need to remember this happened at this date and that happened at
Hmm.
that time, and you get some basic information just so you could remember to pass an exam. It's not necessarily taught in a
You can
way
retain
that
it.
this this was part of what happened with your people, and this is how it connects to why things are the way it is today, and what you need to do to make the changes for the future. That kind of I don't think that is done enough to really um, push the agenda. And then there's another part where the historical information that is taught is kind of limited from just a slavery up until now versus a history that would give you information prior to enslavery, which would give us a more perspective as to how we used to live prior to that era versus history that teaches you, well, you all were slaves, enslaved, and now you colonize and you. So that perspective gives people a whole different mindset versus if you were to know that even before this enslavement era, our people traveled all over the world. Actually, Columbus, when he came to the Caribbean, is the Moors who were the navigators of the ship, is the people who who brought him here. He didn't know anything about, traveling and all of those things. And at that time, even before, it was the Moors, Mansa Musa and all of them people who would have traveled, even in
Hmm.
America, would have had people all over the world. Mexico is the Aztecs and all is black people. China, Japan, uh,
We're here for over
Philippines, the original
10,000 years
people,
and beyond.
the Caribbean,
A long time we're here. We've
right?
always been here.
So those kind of things, I don't think enough is done to really do that to help to empower people, but that needs to change.
Well, Satima, I
Right.
mean, you really stay along with us. I mean, way more than I expected to. You understand? But really appreciate. But any last
Thank
words you
you.
want to give? I mean, to keep your great grandpa name going forward, and anything you want to say to the administration, those that is in power when it comes to his contribution and stuff like that. I mean, he's really. I just want to really want to continue this conversation and do a next show sometime down in the year and stuff like that. Definitely before the year finished, because there's a lot more information we can continue with this
Yeah.
discussion. Definitely, yes, sir.
Yeah. I would just like to say that, those of you who are doing those tourism tours and are doing the land tours, don't forget about the Black contribution when you're doing these tours. Don't just include the slave owners. When you're doing these tours, when you're going up to Mount Traverse, Walter Wade's name should be included in the conversation. So that's one point I would like to say to those of you who are into the tours. Make sure you include to the facts of the matter. Even if it takes somebody to go to the land registry, see the title, see that information live on record, do what it takes and to say facts when you're contributing to the history of Nevis. Yeah. And as
Yes,
far
sir.
as
Yes, son.
Wally Wade, like I said, as long as I'm breathing, as long as I'm alive, as long as I'm visiting Nevis or living in Nevis, he will be known. He will not be forgotten.
Beautiful. Yes, son.
Well, I must say, based on the conversations on the thread this evening, Fatima, you are very much welcomed. The people
Thank
are
you.
very impressed with the information that you're providing, and I am
Mm-hmm.
certain that they would be looking forward to a follow-up. So, Banky, I don't even know if
Yes.
we might be
Yeah.
able to have it on at the end of the month, maybe before this month ends, if possible, Fatima. So we probably will need to
Definitely.
discuss and think of that. To her. And we can put together some more information to present.
Yeah.
Let me,
Yeah.
before I give my final statements, Banky, just go through some of the comments that we didn't get to. So, okay. Yes, so we have Carlisle Paris saying people like Mr. Hunkins is another person like that. Gigi saying that 200 million that can go into our own agriculture, which is true. Carlisle
Mm-hmm.
Paris says they are teaching colonial history. I guess that was to the point when we were talking about
Mhm.
when you asked the
What do they
question
teach
about
in
what
school?
history they are
Hmm.
teaching in school.
Hmm.
Gigi says agriculture should be a subject introduced at the primary level. Yes, I'm totally in
Yeah.
agreement with
Yes,
that.
sir.
Yes.
Carlisle Paris says nobody wants to hear about that wicked Christopher Columbus. We don't want any slavery hammered into our head anymore. I so wish I
Yes,
didn't
sir.
learn that crap. Um, then he says, "Can you type her name in the chat so we can Google her?" So you see, people want to get in touch with you. So, Banky, I guess we could probably do that after, right? Yeah, that's okay for you, for people to look you up.
Yeah. I guess
Fatima?
I do
You have
have
you
an
have
IG.
you
I'm
have
not on.
WhatsApp, IG, Instagram.
I have an IG. I have an IG. They can contact me through IG. I'm really not on social media like that
Okay.
anymore, but I see that it may be a necessity to do what I need to do in terms of this information. But
So
I'll give you my
if you want to
IG. I'll
give us
send
the
you my IG.
IG, yes.
Yeah.
For
Okay, yeah.
those,
So
yeah, and for
we'll
those who
yeah
will again.
send it, and then we'll put it in the chat for those who uh, what happened here now. Okay. So let's get back to these last set of comments here now. Agriculture. Okay, so that was Gigi, and then Annette Morton said agriculture was once a subject in schools. From when is it no more taught in schools? Oh, okay. I think she maybe
You
misinterpreted what we're
misunderstand.
saying.
You misunderstand,
It's
yeah.
taught in
Yes.
schools, but what we're saying is that we want to make it compulsory so that you start
Yes.
at the primary level compulsory, and when you get to secondary
Mm-hmm.
school, instead of choosing, it should be
Choosing, yes.
compulsory, just like how maths and English and history is compulsory. Let agriculture be that fourth subject that is also compulsory. So that is what we were addressing, and I think Gigi tried to correct that for
Explain
us. So she
that.
said, Annette Morton, he said it should be compulsory in school. I think it should be taught in primary schools. Teach the kids how to grow their own food. Steve Mills says, "Good night, gentlemen, and to the young lady. Thank you for the wealth of knowledge and information." So, Fatima, you
Welcome.
are more than welcome here. And even if I was just saying it, based on the
Mhm.
comments I'm reading, you're hearing that the evidence is there on the wall.
Thank
And
you.
so we
Thank
really
you.
want
Thank
to
you.
thank you. We want to thank you for the time and thank you for the information and for putting me on this kind of scope. I will have to go do some more research myself. And I'm going to be looking forward to getting more information from you in this regard so that
Yes.
when we have
Yes.
our next conversation as well, I could be more
Mm-hmm.
informed as well as we do this. So I'm really grateful for your time. I'm really grateful for the
Okay.
contribution. And I
Thank
want to
you.
say give thanks to all of the people who are on the Facebook wall Friday evening. You could have been out partying, you could have been doing whatever you're doing, but you're here with us
Yes,
for a
sir.
couple of hours, and we are very grateful for that. And we hope that you can also share the live and share the link.
Yes.
And make sure to be here. It's usually every Friday from 7. Should be 7, but sometimes they're a little bit tardy. But generally
Mhm.
around 7 until 9.
So,
And see, we make up the time because even we might have
yes.
been a little tardy. We go overtime and make up for that. So we want to welcome you. Tell your
Thank
friends
you.
to tag it, pin it, that Real Entertainment Network should be the platform that you're on a Friday evening for an interesting edition like this. Also, it's Black History Month. I'm really loving how this topic also kind of coincided in that way. So we were able to tie agriculture and a bit of Black history and all that into it. And so I want people to, be cognizant of that. And for us as Rastafari, every day is Black History Month because our quest is
Yes, sir.
always, African consciousness. But especially at this month that they give us, so to speak, I would hope that a lot more people can be more conscious and take time out to look at those who were before us and the contributions that they made. And I'm hoping also that what Fatima, did tonight would function as a kind of catalyst to help us to figure that thought for us to do that a bit more. Learning about this guy, Wally Wade and Nevis, and how many other people were like that, and how many other people and Nevis made these kind of contributions. And so I'm hopeful that this is what could be one of the end result of a discussion like this. So thank you very much.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you, Banky.
Thank you.
And everybody.
Yes.
Everybody give thanks.
Send,
See you guys
send
next
me your
Friday.
email for any information. I can send it through email.
Okay.
Okay,
And
well,
before you
I'll
go,
I'll
talk
give
to
you
Banky, and
my
Banky
IG
will
too.
organize that.
Okay.
yes, and I just want to say for those who just tune in late, you can always go back and we watch and still share the link and go back and we watch the show as much time as you want, and you know what I mean, and stuff like that. So even if you miss it, the show is always there to go back and watch all the time. That's the beautiful thing about it. So Munchie, thanks for coming. Greatly appreciated. You understand? Great job. I think she passed already, but definitely yes on. Ira, enough respect. And thanks.
And you won't want to miss it. It's everything agriculture. Hey, this man Easy inviting you to tune in. It's all about everything agriculture with the man Banky and Company alongside Yason Tafari. It's your weekly educational show. And tune in. It's inspirational, educational, and you won't want to miss it.